Shalom and good evening. Today is January 9th, and here in All Israel News, we're bringing you Channel 12's evening news. Today is the 95th day of the war, and it brings with it some tragic news about 9 soldiers that died in the last few incidents in Gaza. Here are their faces. Most of them are from the combat engineering unit, from explosives from their own unit. We'll have more details of that soon. Meanwhile, the range of war in the north is expanding. Hezbollah bombs the northern headquarters in Sfat. Following that, Israel responds by assassinating another senior of Hezbollah. But first, the names and faces about the soldiers that are officially announced. Rotem Magen, 19 years old, from Kfar Yehoshua. David Schwartz, 26 years old, from El Azar. Yakir Herster, 26 years old, from Jerusalem. Gavriel Blum, 27 years old, from Beit Shemesh, also from combat engineering. Many here from combat engineering unit. Here's Amit Shachar, 25 years old, from Ramat Yochanan combat engineering unit. Here's Dennis Wexler, 32 years old, from Be'er Sheva. He's an officer in the combat engineering elite unit. Ron Efrimi, 26 years old, from Hod HaSharon. Ro'i Avraham Aimon, 24 years old, from Afula. He's a paramedic. Akiva Yasinski, 35 years old, from Ramat Gan. May the memory be blessed. And as we said, 6 of these soldiers were killed in a certain incident that's being investigated by an explosion of the combat engineering unit. So here, Nir Dvori, the reporter, is bringing more details about this event. He says this investigation is not yet complete, but it is a fact that the explosion was not from the enemy. That was not from Hamas, but rather from the IDF, as this tank was protecting the combat engineering unit underground in the tunnel as they were preparing to explode an underground terrorist tunnel. They were preparing the explosives. The tank was there to protect the unit from any enemy. It recognizes an enemy. It fires a tank shell, and those sparks start a chain reaction of explosions that bomb the explosive materials in the underground tunnel, and it blows up 6 of the soldiers that are remaining under the ground just before they leave. They die, but just a few minutes before that, so many other soldiers left as they were at the end of the preparation, and they were outside of the tunnel. They got injured, but not killed. And we read the firing of the tank that was done close to the tunnel. It caused sparks that caused the chain reaction of this explosives, and a big tragedy was prevented because in the place 30 soldiers had enough time to leave that tunnel before this. And testimonies from soldiers that were at the place, it says, we felt like it was an earthquake, a very strong earthquake. That's how hard 3 tons of explosive materials were exploded from under the ground. This is important learning lessons because the Israel military forces need to still explode many more tunnels down south. Here's one story out of many. Ro'i Avraham is 24 years old. He was a paramedic and he was a fighter in the elite unit of the combat engineering unit. He loved animals. His family is mourning his death. And for years, he volunteered in the Israeli Red Cross, Magen David Adom. He saved people's lives. Here, he's getting one on Facebook. A lady's writing him as she remembers he saved her son's life in 2022. And here's another one, David Schwartz, 26 years old. We said another funeral. Here are his parents. They're praying a Jewish prayer in the funeral. Yes, he was from Elazar, 26 years old. And he was killed from an anti-tank missile in Khan Yunis by Hamas. Everybody spoke how humble he was with a golden heart. It was a large family. He was one out of 6 children. And here is his wife, Meital. She says, we wanted to raise a family together. We had so many dreams, but only the dream is left. It says many of the people that came to his funeral were torn between 2 funerals, as another one not far from here was happening to another one that they knew. Another one, Yakir Herstel, 26 years old, from Jerusalem. He was also a fighter in the same combat engineering unit. He was also killed by anti-tank missile in Khan Yunis. It's a different incident. And he volunteered with kids with special needs. This is where he met David Schwartz from the other funeral that we showed. And they were very good friends. They became commanders together, they studied together, and they came back to serve together. And here's his father mentioning that just close to here, his good friend is being buried. So in their lives and in their death, they were not separated, the father says. It's a long list of soldiers and faces that are not with us anymore, that are not in the combat engineering unit anymore. May their memory be blessed. Now to the next story about Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State. It is his 5th visit to Israel since the beginning of the war in 3 months. He's been here 5 times, and he says, we've been working hard to bring some sort of hostage exchange agreement. We are including all of the factors. We're having everybody involved, anybody we can. Blinken says that in the last days, Israel is showing flexibility, and I suggest that to the families I'm recommending to the families to continue the international pressure that they're putting on the different governments. Now Nir Dvoy, the reporter, is going to bring us a very special documentation of the fighting, the battles in Khan Yunis, the southern part of the Gaza Strip. And he's relating it to the hostage exchange agreement because he says everyone, including America and Egypt, says that the military pressure is needed in order to get to Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, and to the release of the hostages. So they're going through, the IDF, the Israel military, is going through tunnels and from house to house, face-to-face battles with terrorists to find tunnel shafts, to find tunnel openings that will lead to Yahya Sinwar. There's a grenade, face-to-face shooting. This is fierce battling, very courageous. They need to stay focused. Here we see a dead terrorist body that is in civilian clothes. Now there's intelligence, there's information that in this home there's a tunnel opening. So that's why the IDF soldiers are sent here. That's why they're working hard, they're fighting fiercely in this place. It's not for no reason. They know that the opening is here. The reporter is saying that they're able to focus even though they're being heavily attacked. And perhaps this will lead to another, to just getting one step closer to Yahya Sinwar. Next, to the northern front. In the last few days, they're saying more and more seniors of Hezbollah are getting assassinated or getting killed by Israel's military. Today, this was a response. Another senior of Hezbollah was killed as a response to an explosion in the IDF northern headquarters. This is the senior that Israel assassinated today. He was in charge of launching aerial vehicles into Israel's territory until this morning, as he was assassinated. Here's the aerial vehicle. It's unmanned. Hezbollah is using more and more of these in the last couple of days in order to explode military bases in the northern part of Israel. So that in the last few weeks, Israel has been more assertive than in the last 17 years as they're killing more and more Hezbollah seniors. Maybe this will cause Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, to stop their attacks and take his soldiers back to the Litani River. Okay. For more stories, go to allisraelnews.com. Follow us on our social media. Like this video if you liked it. Please share this with your family and friends. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.